All right, what is up, everyone? Today is going to be a different kind of video. It's a video I've been wanting to film since I released the last video on this topic, which is my S2000 Mugen build video. I released that in October of 2022, and I meant to do a commentary video follow-up, and this is that video. If you haven't seen that video, check it out right now. I'll link it right here or in the description. But it just basically documented my Mugen S2000 build without commentary. It was just a photo collage. There was no video elements to it, just a photo slideshow. So if you're not into commentary, go watch that video. Again, it's linked below. But this video was requested, and I thought it was a great idea because it's basically a commentary on that build. And so this video is going to be very long-winded. Disclaimer: if you don't like commentary, you don't want to hear me talking the whole time, don't watch this video. Go watch the other one. But it's gonna have all new not all new photos, but a bunch of new photos, probably 2 or 3 times new photos. And it's gonna have some video in it. Various videos strewn out. I did not take too much video when I had my S2000 because I didn't have a YouTube channel back then. But so I really had no real reason to do it. But I have various dyno runs. I have a few random videos of it driving around. So there will be some videos in this video, or some moving videos of the car. But basically, I'm gonna go through the photos of the car and kind of explain a little bit of the car. So if you are into that, stay tuned. So first, what we're looking at here is the car bone stock. So I purchased the car in 2007. It's a 2004 model. It's a 2004 AP2. It was bone stock. I purchased it right in this picture right here is the Auto Trader ad. So it was like an 80-year-old gentleman. This is a retirement community called Leisure World in Huntington Beach or Orange County, California. And basically, this is right outside his front yard. He was selling it because he purchased this car for his son, who had just had kids and couldn't of course have a 2-seater roadster. So this older gentleman had a Corvette of his own, and he could barely get in this car. The battery was just about dead. This car had 9,000 miles on it, and so at the time it was like 22.5, I think is what I paid for it. 9,000 miles. You guys wish you could get that deal right now, right? And it was only 3 years old. So really cool. So at the time, I was really into tracking my car. My Integra I was tracking it all the time. So I wanted to continue that with the S2000. I purchased Tane SRC coilovers. So this is top of the line Tane suspension. This was like hookup price, like $1,600 back then. I think retail was like in the 2000s. Love this suspension. I'll get more into this later. Just to go to show, I went right off the bat. I wanted the best suspension I could get. Fast forward. This as you see the car right now, it's modified. It's got RE30s on it. It has the ASM front end. It has a white top, as you can see. This is jumping into the car many years later after my ownership. This is a Mugen S2000 build video, so I'm kind of skipping things and going to all the Mugen parts that I purchased. The Mugen hardtop was the first thing I purchased. So going from stock to this point, I had been GREDI turbocharged. I had a OEM Plus phase already. I was one of the first in the S2000 community to have a CR lip on a non-CR. When I was working at GREDI, we had a contact at Honda that was able to get me a brand new CR lip. So I purchased that. I had an OEM hardtop before the Mugen hardtop, but eventually I wanted the Mugen hardtop. It's the perfect look in my opinion. So I purchased this off of my buddy in San Diego for a really good deal. FRP, fiberglass top. Here's another look. I think I paid like $1,700, which is unheard of, right? Especially now, people are trying to sell FRP tops for like what the CF tops used to go for. So people are trying to list FRP tops for like 4,000, I think, maybe 5,000. And CF tops now are going for like 7 plus, 7K plus maybe. Anyway, this is a white top, came off of a GPW car. I took it to Westminster, California to purchase, not to paint the top. Pretty good job. It was one of those, Vietnamese shops that they painted outside, I think, but the top came out pretty good. I got painted for like 600 bucks, I think. So that's why the rear window's missing. Here's another shot. Those auto collision, if any of you locals know about it, pretty decent. I had some trouble with my Taman spoiler that you see there. They also painted that. There was some gassing out bubbles in it, but might have been just the fiberglass wing gassing out. So I didn't really blame them too much. But yeah, this is my first Mugen part. And I didn't. I think it's important to note at this point. I didn't have the goal of creating like a full Mugen build right now. I just wanted the top. So here's a great look at comparison of what my car was before and after. The OEM top was awesome, of course, perfect fitment, right? It's aluminum, really good visibility out the back with the big glass window, but it didn't have that sporty look of the Mugen top. Especially I love the scoop, the kind of scalp part that's scooped out of the top, that has like a channel running through the middle of the top of the Mugen top. That is so good. So this is pretty much the same profile. One has CEs, of course, one RE30s, but the Mugen top, to me, makes a big difference. I've actually in real life confused a rear 3/4 shot of the S2000 with the OEM top for a Miata. the OEM Miata top looks very similar to an S2000 top. So anyway, the Mugen top it's perfect. All right, so here's another look. I used to do a lot of photo shoots back then. So every time I put a new part on, I do a photo shoot, which you will see in this video. So the ASM front bumper looks super clean, OEM hood and everything. There's another closer look at the top. Here's a rear 3/4 of the top. I love this look. I had the ASM 04 rear bumper as well. Mugen rear top comes with a tinted polycarbonate window. And this is the warning labels that they give you with the top, which the previous owner put on. So this is important right here. Keep note of this. K0346 is the number. Every hardtop is serialized, so you know what number it is, what of production run. All the fiberglass tops start with a K, and so yeah, we'll come back to this number in a second later in the video. It'll be really interesting. So this right here is my first peek at me contemplating, should I continue with the Mugen theme and possibly try to build a Mugen car. I found this on the forums. This is the Mugen SS rear bumper, of course, painted in Suzuka, of course. I purchased it in LA, used. I do not recall if at the time this was discontinued or just very expensive. I believe it was probably just very expensive because you have to get the exhaust with this bumper. So it's you need both of them. It does not fit with the stock exhaust or an aftermarket because the tips are relocated higher in the bumper. So I always knew that if I could get something used and save some money, I wanted to do that. So I found this on the forums for a really good price. I don't recall how much I paid. Maybe something like $1,600 or something like that for the bumper and the exhaust. So yeah, this is a goofy ass picture, but that's what you do when you're excited. So I took a picture of my storage unit with I was in between homes moving. So the titanium rear section of the SS exhaust. So there's the SS exhaust. If you didn't know, the exhaust is all stainless except for when you get to the rear section. So you get to the rear section, that's why there's rivets on the muffler section. because obviously titanium and stainless do not weld together. So the muffler all the way to the tip is titanium, and the piping is all stainless steel. But this system was in amazing shape, which you'll see in a second. So here's the tips. One of the tips, great condition, no cracks, no scratches on the tip. Here's the muffler. Again, looks really in perfect condition. And so, moving on, Backcracker, who a lot of you guys know as from the forums at least, he's a mod or admin on S2KI. Also, the guy Mike, the guy that runs Homecoming, so the S2000 / NSX Homecoming events. This was his hood. So he had this authentic Mugen hood. He had offered it to me. I wasn't sure if I wanted to pick it up because I was at this point again not fully invested in going full Mugen because I knew it was gonna be really expensive. It's not a cheap thing to do. I was loving my ASM front bumper, and I said, "Does the Mugen hood look good with the ASM bumper?" Because the ASM bumper looks perfect with the ASM hood, and they're completely different looks. So I ended up like photoshopping the hood a lot and whatever. In the end, obviously, I knew ASM hood looked better, but I really love the Mugen hood, and I said if I get the Mugen hood and it's offered to me at a really good deal, it's a possibility another key piece to the Mugen part of this puzzle. The first being the rear bumper and exhaust, which was again a rare setup to get, and something I really love. So again, because I didn't know I wanted a full Mugen build, I still was interested in the rear bumper and exhaust because it was really cool. It was like no one else had made anything like that before. Pretty much. Titanium exhaust. I really always loved how exhausts go through the rear bumper, kind of like how exotics cars do now, like Lamborghinis and McLarens, how the exhaust comes out up higher. I really like that look. So I went ahead and got the hood because it was a deal, and it had this color scheme painted to it. It was already Berliner black. The vents were masked off to show the carbon, which I liked. They're slightly yellowed, almost a slight Kevlar look to the carbon because it was an old hood. But again, I got it for a great deal. Here's the underside of the hood. If you haven't seen me explain what makes this hood so good, go watch my automotive anatomy interview with Gus. I'll link that out to the video as well. But basically these channels, they're rain channels. So rain doesn't just slide right through each vent into your engine bay. There's a little channel that catches the rain in each of these, and it uses the skeleton of the hood to guide the water, and that's what these holes are for at the front of the hood. It keeps the water from going in the engine bay. As long as you don't like shoot water through the vent, if it's just like rainwater or car wash water, it'll catch all the water and then direct it out the front of your bumper. So it's a really thoughtful design, and what you're about to see is it's very strong. So here's a closer look at the vent. You can't see, this is the opposite side that you need to see, but there's a lip on it which keeps the water in place. I'll get back to the strength of the hood later. I have a picture for you guys. Here's a look at wheels. So if I shoot one photo past this, I got wide fenders. Why did I need wide fenders? Because of these wheels. When I had the silver RA30s, 17935, they were fine. When I got the 17 by 9.5 plus 40, which is famously off of Evasive's first blue Time Attack S2000, this I wasn't counting on how aggressive this would be. So as you can see here, the tires poke, and I had already rolled and pulled my fenders by the famous Spunky Sandoval. For you OGs, that's before Mr. Sexy, there was Spunky Sandoval. All you guys know. So he had come over, pulled my fenders, rolled and pulled my fenders. rolled my rear fenders and relocated the tab and all of that. And it was still too much. You can see how much the tire is poking. So I got these wide fenders. I picked these up off of Dave, Momo X Cosmo OG. I believe he had DTM do these fenders. So they are fully flared. It's kind of hard to see here. Well, not that hard, but there's no lip here, right? The downforce fenders keep the OEM lip. These have no lip. I do, in a way, prefer the OEM lip kept, but the way these fenders were made, and to do this, you have to do body work. So this is basically taking the OEM fender, fully flattening it out, and when you do this along the edge, when you get rid of the lip completely, you need to like smooth it out with Bondo and everything like that. So it's not something you can just do like I did what had Spunky pull the fender. You have to fully, refinish the fender after this job. So DTM did a really good job on this. And what I really loved about this style wide fender where it has no lip is I never worried about going up a driveway with my wheels turned. It's a thing where you get bacon fenders if you go up a driveway with your wheels turned and your tire catches the lip of the fender. These are completely flat. And the tire had nothing to catch onto, so I never worried about going up driveways. Here's another part that I ended up getting. It's really, these are really cheap, really cool to have. It's a convex side view mirrors that Mugen made. They were basically stick-on, so you really easy install. And here is the second best part of the Mugen build. I'll tell you, you'll see later what the first one is, and maybe you can guess it. But this is a brand new SS bumper. I was lucky enough to have some friends bring it in for me into the United States. Brand new. And it was still available at the time. I believe it was $2,300, not cheap, just for one bumper. So that shows you, like I paid I think less than $2,000 for the rear bumper and the exhaust. I think now that I say it out loud, how much the front bumper costs, I think the rear bumper costs about the same just for the bumper by itself, plus the exhaust. So the rear bumper was something around $2,000 to $2,200 for the rear bumper, plus exhaust maybe like $1,500 for the exhaust. So I just had a significant savings buying it used. Here's the front bumper, the insides. It's a CFRP construction. They just put like one layer of CF on the inside for some reason. I think it's just for looks, but it looks cool. So the construction looks really nice. This raised area in the middle has a full undercover of the bumper, and the raised area is reinforcement since it's such a long flat piece. And of course, side by side, the ASM bumper and the Mugen bumper. Mugen bumper again. I love how it looks. When it's painted in black, you lose all these details along the grill and everything like that. So I love looking at it in this brand new out of the box form. And there is the infamous underbite, which I love. I love it. That's why I love the ASM bumper too with the lip. You need to have like a splitter, the lower part of your bumper needs to stick out more than the top. The Mugen bumper is divisive, right? Some people think especially because it has such a smiley looking face, a lot of people think it looks really stupid with the underbite look. But I really love any bumper with like an aggressive splitter or where the bottom sticks out more. When it's the opposite way, when it's an overbite, that looks terrible, in my opinion. So here is one of the coolest parts about the Mugen SS front bumper is that it comes with this beautiful injection molded flat belly. There's a big square cutout in the bottom because that's where the oil pan is, but this is such a nice piece. This Mugen was making such cool parts back then, such legit parts. Who else did this? No one else did this. This is what you see in like the NSX Type R. NSX Type R's is under the aluminum. This part, this piece, they do have like a plastic under the bumper part. This is goes aft of the bumper. So, but yeah, I mean, no other NS2000 company or Aero company made this at this time. Maybe Voltex does now on their race kit or something, but that Voltex race kit did not exist at this time. And next are the bits that I was wanting to test fit the rear bumper. But when you buy a JDM rear bumper, what you need is the JDM license plate relocator or holder. And in this case for the S2000, you want to have the JDM rear brace or AKA crash beam. It's not really a crash beam. Japanese just don't have that standard. It's just like a thin bar. You'll see it in a second, but it's basically a brace. And here it is. So this is the brace. Again, it's not really a crash bar, even though most people describe it that way. It comes with a spot for the tow hook, of course, and the rest is just a bar for strength. And here it is installed. So if you didn't know, JDM license plates usually stay with the chassis. So they all have a tilt function where you can remove the rear bumper while leaving the plate on. So for the SS rear bumper, I did need to cut these pieces off. I believe, I don't know if you need to do this for even AP1 S2000s, but I think you do because it includes brackets with the rear bumper. So you'll see the brackets mounted later, but you need to cut these off. This is the factory mounts that hold the center of the rear bumper up, of the OEM rear bumper. And so here I'm test fitting the SS rear bumper. And it overall fits pretty good except for one area on both sides of the fender well, which is right here. It's the corner where it meets the fender. And I was never certain if it was supposed to be this way, the rear bumper that is, or if I'll show you right now. The issue is that the rear bumper stuck inwards more of my fender. And I wasn't sure if it was me getting my fenders pulled that created the offset. You can see that the bumper, it ended up not only being offset, but the rear bumper ended up curving inwards, kind of weird shaped. So I wasn't sure if that was how all the SS rear bumpers are. If you know, let me know. If you have an SS rear bumper and your bumper had this issue, let me know. I wasn't sure if this was like maybe the previous owner had damaged this part of the rear bumper and just got it repaired somewhere and they did it a weird shape. But I fixed this. So, and this is the other side. Again, it does the same exact thing, curves inward. What I did is one of my first forays into body work, I reinforced the outside because the inside it was curving inwards. So I added more material onto the outside of this tip right here. I used fiberglass mat and I used fiberglass reinforced body filler, which is this greenish goop you see here. And I basically built it outwards so that I was able to shave off the inside where it stuck in. And here's almost the final product. It worked out really, really well. I'm actually really proud of myself, being that this is the first time I worked with fiberglass. And so here's a top view of the passenger side. No more curving inwards, straight as an arrow. And here's the driver's side. And as you can see, it lines up with the fender perfectly now. No more curving inwards. And here's the passenger side. Again, I'm pretty proud of myself for doing this. Saved some money at the body shop. Here's my first test fit of the Mugen SS rear front bumper. And here you can see this is right out of the box. I did not sand this. This is Mugen that sanded it down a little bit. You can see these clear areas of the bumper. But there's this gap on the left side of your screen. And that bothered me, so I went ahead and tried to fix that as well, which you can see here. And this is not bolted in right now, which is why there's an overall gap, but the gap is even. So that when I did bolt it in, it would pull it in closer together. Mainly this corner right here is what I fixed. It being really really bad on this previous iteration. So the driver's side looked perfect. This bumper was well in molding wise, where the flanges are and everything, the mounting points. It was very inferior to the ASM bumper that I was pulling off. The ASM bumper, the flanges, everything where you can see here where the bolts go through, and the area that kind of mounts the brackets underneath the hood, underneath the headlights, and the flanges where you put bolt through to mount it to the fender. All those areas on the ASM bumper looked like OEM. It was fiberglass, but it looked exactly like OEM. In contrast, the Mugen bumper did not. It was very rough and very caveman-like, and I just attributed it to the sign of the times, basically. This Mugen SS bumper was probably created like a decade before the ASM bumper, my guess. And so the technologies were slightly different. But the fitment, as you can see, look at this fitment on to the fender. It's really really good fitment. So I was really happy with it in general. And yeah, I mean that's what you get typically when you buy authentic parts is excellent fitment. Here is the hardware that comes with a Mugen SS bumper, and this is also why it's good to buy authentic and pay the people that deserve to have created all the R&D. So all the black pieces, those are modified OEM parts. The only pieces that Mugen added on are these mounting tabs. So there's like a diamond shaped mounting tab on these side brackets and like a triangular mounting tab on this crossbar. The silver piece is fully created by Mugen. That's to hold up the front bumper and the under tray, and all the OEM hardware that they include. Even include a little fiberglass heat deflector. Here is the rear exhaust mounted up. I love again how the exhaust hugs the body, hugs the contours of the chassis, and goes right up through the rear bumper. And here's a look at those brackets I was telling you about that Mugen supplies to mount the rear bumper, and of course the tilt of the license plate. So undoubtedly you have seen JDM cars with a tilted license plate, but that's the reason why, so they can take the rear bumper off and leave the license plate on the car. Here's another shot. And I'm taking this stuff to paint. So I took these items, the front bumper and rear bumper, down to San Diego to a place called SE Auto Body in Point Loma, and they did not do a great job. I had someone in my first video comment about all the orange peel that the front and rear bumper had, and that is spot on. I do not pretend to hide that. You know, I wasn't making a ton of money at the time. I was scrounging, and I looked for a good deal on the paint, and it just had a ton of orange peel. So this is part of the front bumper. If you ever wondered what that part is in the front bumper, that there's like a post that goes right down the middle of the grill area, front air dam. It's to hide this metal mounting strap. You have to drill into your crash beam to mount it, and it basically just goes straight down, and it allows you to mount bolts straight up through your bumper into this piece to help support your bumper. And this piece behind it in black, I had already got it painted, is the air dam. So the continuation. So not only the front bumper is the front half, and the rest, this part right here, helps guide the air. It sits directly in front of, right up against the radiator. So we're very well thought out piece. It really bothers me when bumpers do not have this, aren't designed with this in mind, and they look just so two-dimensional. If they just ended, you know, they only go inwards like a couple inches, for it to look, you know, it looks really good when this goes all the way back to the radiator. So here it is. Again, the piece in the middle is not only a license plate mount, but it hides that strap. And so it really strengthens and supports the bumper. This bumper is really well supported and really, shows that they thought about aerodynamics and everything like that. Here's a look at the what everybody here would call plan view, top down view. I really liked it. It gives you S2000 always has that snake look, that viper look, with the wide fenders, and now it just looks more like a snake with that SS front bumper. Here's a look at the underbite, and here is the underside. So you can see these two bolts here, these two flush mount Allen bolts. Those are what's holding up the bumper through that metal strap that's connected to the crash beam. And here on the bottom, as you can see, is the plastic flat belly tray. Really cool design. Here's a look at my garage with the white RE30s. And outside, looking good. You cannot see the orange peel quite yet. I still have the ASM duckbill on. And here you can see the orange peel. This orange peel, not good. But it is what it is. So the exhaust and everything mounts up. I love this view of the rear bumper too. It shows how the exhaust is tucked up and gives you a nice clear, gives the air a nice clear airflow through the back without the mufflers sticking down. Here's a key that I think comes with the RNRs, because these bumpers, front and rear bumper, use these caps for cover the tow hooks, and they were the same caps that came with Mugen RNR wheels, and so I have a key for that, because they're Allen bolts that hold these caps on. Here's a photo shoot that I did after I got everything painted. Loved how nice these RE30s with the slight concave looked. All right, continuing the photo shoot, you can see the wide fenders covered the wheels and tires very nicely. Another look from the rear 3/4 view. With the Stop Tech trophy kit. So you can see the orange peel on the front bumper as well. And already, maybe like a week after I painted it, there was a ton of gravel on the 22 freeway here, and my front bumper just got pelted. Here is a very rare photo that no one probably has ever seen. This is myself and the famous DPK Jared. So Jared, of course, had a Mugen S2000 during this time as well. I think he had started, of course he was known for Mugen wheels and stuff, because he had like the seats and the wheels and the intake, I think, and the hardtop. He's famously on like a Honda tuning cover, but he had not gotten the front bumper for a long time. Probably around the time when I got mine, is when, or a little bit after, is when he started building up his SS setup. But we had met up at Ballet Sports and just did an impromptu. It was really dark, so that's why the photos are really grainy. But here's his car. I think he had, if memory serves correctly, I think he had like a veil side rear spoiler. I still have my ASM spoiler. He didn't have the SS rear yet at this point. But our cars were very similar looking. Some people even thought I bought his car, because he was, he's super famous, right? Like, he's a lot more well known in the community than I am. He always rocked the downforce carbon side diffusers though. And we both even had our S2000 logo removed off our fenders, and clear side markers. Our cars look pretty similar. Here is my first, one of my first forays, not my first foray for that 2000, but into aftermarket seats. I did have one Recaro pole position before this, and I think one Stradia before this as well. But this is the first time I had a pair of seats, and these are ASM edition Recaro SR6s. They sat too high. If you're familiar with S2000, they look high to you. If you're not familiar with S2000, you're like, oh, it looks fine. But you can tell by how high the headrest is. It sticks way up above the OEM roll hoops. And so I just did not like this. It's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of Recaro reclining seats at all. They are very thick. They're meant for like sedans and coupes and things like that. The bottom seat cushion is super thick and they just sit really high. I mean, this was using Brid rails and it was sitting, the rail was sat the seat pretty low itself, but the cushion was just super high. So that leads me to my next seat option, which was I decided to sell those SR6s. I just couldn't stand sitting. I cannot sit higher than stock. Stock seats already sat high, too high for me. One morning, I opened up S2KI and someone was wanting to trade stock seats for a pair of leather Recaro pole positions. I could not pass it up. I was the first one who jumped on it. I drove it up like immediately. I got the pole positions, and what I needed to do is get a proper seat rail set up. Someone had done this before on the forums, and I copied the concept, which is using OEM S2000 rails, modifying them to be a side mount. And it just so happens that they fit perfectly with Recaro. These are FIA pole positions, not ABE. So these are the narrower Recaro FIA pole positions. But this is CAD, cardboard aided right here. And so I created it. And to get to this point, you have to drill out all these rivets along this OEM seat rail, which is right here. And even the rivets holding in this mechanism, the lever that you pull, you have to drill it out. It's real big pain. These are like crazy rivets. They don't just like pop out like one of those normal pop rivets that you would use to put on fender flares. These are like heavy duty rivets. These guys right here. So it took a really long time to do this, but it was very worth it. Here's a look at the aluminum concept, not concept, but like actually this is the one I ended up using. So this is basically a final piece that I got made. And as you can see it looks and fits perfectly. Here it is painted, and here it is outside of the car. So you can see that I got it to sit very low. I wish I could get it to sit like all the way to the ground, but as you can see on the side over here, the side of the seat would make contact with the slider. So that was a no-go. But if you're familiar with how OEM seats roll, they don't use those little crappy ball bearings that every aftermarket company uses. They use like a roller bearing, a big roller bearing. And so they roll so nice and buttery smooth, right? I wanted that with the Recaros, and I got it with this. And it was so cool. I think this is not, I'm looking at this and seeing this bar that crosses over. And these must not be, these are Buddy Club rails. But this is just a look at the seats. So don't look at the rails right now. Those are Buddy Club rails that I used. I didn't like the Buddy Club rails because if you knew back then, the Buddy Club rails had a really bad reputation of the welds breaking off. The welds that they used were not good. They did not penetrate, and so they would just shear right off. And I was not having that. I could have just had someone else re-weld it, but I'm not wanting that kind of quality. And I wanted the one touch of the OEM and the ease of how nice the OEM sliders slid. So here's a look at the seats in the car, and I couldn't be happier with how this is kind of a dark picture, but I wanted to show this to you guys because my mind was always blown with how perfect these leather pole positions fit in the S2000. I mean, the color of the leather was like perfect for the stock leather. And you look at the headrest compared to the roll hoops, which I always do, and it looks like it belongs in this car. And these are the Recaros with a small logo, a gray font down the middle. Just Just, yeah, this is a chef's kiss. Perfect look. But if look was the only thing that I was going for, then I would have kept these seats, but I didn't, because these seats, and the reason why I've bought and sold pole positions so many times over the year is that eventually uh, the back angle gets annoying, and I just can't handle it anymore. I need like a little bit more recline. Here's another look at the coloring. I mean, look at it, looks like I reupholstered it with like factory leather. The color is just perfect. These seats just fit perfectly in the car. So here's a steering wheel setup that I have. It's Works Bell short hub with Works Bell quick release. What I run today in the NSX. I picked up a used OMP Super Leggera steering wheel. This steering wheel was super cool. It was a hollow wheel, and so you could like flick the wheel and it would ding. I think it might have been made out of aluminum. I'm not sure. It was super light, but it was Alcantara or suede wheel, but really nice. Okay, so here's a look at the exterior. I had CE28s. These are 17.5 plus 47 all around. Cleared the stop side trophy kit, no problem. Photo shoot I did with the full setup right here. Close up of the wheels. And I put in, always had hookups with ACT. So I put in ACT pressure plate and the exact flywheel, which is their lightest flywheel. You got these flywheels. The Pro Light flywheel, which is their lightest flywheel. The Street Light was their second lightest. Pro Light was the lightest, and just helps the car rev up. So I always like a lightened flywheel. Koyo radiator. I didn't have too good experience with Koyo. I'll leave that story for another day. But this is one of two Koyo radiators I had in the car. Spoon oil, a radiator cap. Mugen intake. Another really beautiful piece. All of Mugen's carbon fiber parts are tremendous. I think they're made by Challenge. I'm not sure. They're full carbon pieces I'm talking about, like the intake and the hardtop and the hood. But this piece is so beautiful. Look at it. Look at this eye candy. Yeah, perfect dry carbon, pre-preg dry carbon goodness. Aluminum, velocity stack. And here is why you buy this bumper, this intake with this bumper. The intake leads directly behind the stock front bumper, but for the SS, it's made for the duct in the SS is made for this intake, and the hood hump is made for this intake as well. So it's all made to go together. The ASM air diversion plate, I wanted it in red. I didn't not get the carbon one because I'm cheap or anything like that. I didn't want the carbon. To me, I didn't want too much carbon, right? I don't want carbon on carbon in the engine bay. So I wanted the nice contrast. I always like contrast of red and black. And I wanted the red aluminum ASM plate to contrast against my carbon intake. Just like this. To kind of balance also off of the red valve cover. A lot of people go with the carbon diversion plate because they think more carbon's better. That's fine. That's their prerogative. Also, it's like the ASM diversion plate's a 1x1 carbon. And wouldn't match the intake. So, and side note, I never installed the intake sticker because my intake was a newer generation with the white sticker where the kanji is small and right next to the Mugen text. I always love the older OG gray stickers where it's the kanji, big kanji with the Mugen power smaller below it. I always held off because I wanted that sticker instead. Here's for you NSX people that might be watching, Mike Bratcher. You all know him, at least the local SoCal guys know him. I used to hang out in a group where he would frequent a lot with Colin from KC Machine. We're all down here in OC. And yeah, he's checking out the new goods in the car. I installed SOS hood dampers. If you knew the SOS hood dampers very well, you know that they utilize a peg that goes into the stock hood. For the SS hood, there is no hole for that peg, so I had to actually drill the hood, which was a little nerve-wracking, but I wanted the hood dampers. Okay, here is Homecoming 3, 2015. Once again, Backcracker Mike invited me to this event to be part of the parade show cars and to display in the special show car area. So I was the second car to roll in right behind this Ariel Atom. So it was a really cool experience. I threw on the NATO tires and Gretty sticker, helped represent my buddy Harry, different buddy Harry, who works at NATO Tire and still works there, amazingly. And here's a video of me rolling into Homecoming 3.
Homecoming attendees showcasing this 2004 Mugen S2000. Put your hands together for Chris.
Okay, and so here's a shot of me rolling in. This is going down the center aisle of Homecoming as the event started. Here's a nice shot from a gentleman. I always love this shot. Too bad that guy holding that generator is walking by. Did not have MS-10s yet, no SS wing yet. Car was looking nice and clean. And after the event, a bunch of us, this is like at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, a bunch of us rolled out to try to do a photo shoot. Because the Homecoming originated as an S2000 only event. It later started including more NSXs and things like that, cars like that. But that's why there's so many S2000s here. I believe this is Mike Bratcher's NSX. This is Warren Wise, Muse S2000, EJ's supercharged S2000, my S2000, Alan Lee from Formula S's REDUX 2000. The Suzuka is Tom Kusunoki, and the BRZ, I'm not sure who that is at the time, who had a BRZ, I don't recall. Black S2000, that might have been Sung's. And yellow S2000, I don't recall who that is, sorry. So that was in front of Gretty. We wanted to go find a spot that didn't have any traffic. Later on, it got too dark there. We wanted to find a parking garage. Went over to UCI. You might recognize some of these photos because Formula S has some of these photos on his website. Again, Warren's Muse S2000, Alan's Red S2000, Mike's NSX, Sung's Black S2000, Tom's Suzuka, and my car on the right. And here's a photo. Again, Warren had the Amuse, authentic Amuse front bumper and authentic Amuse dry carbon hood, and Mugen top, FRP top. Standing in the back is some of the guys, and an Areen showed up, looks like. So Areen, SDC Areen, as he's known as now, when he had his full spooned out S2000. All of these, everyone here rocking authentic parts. Sorry, except for Alan's Amuse bumper at the time. I think it was a Shine bumper, but everything else is authentic. All right, and then here's a video of my buddy, coworker Keith at the time, and he actually happens to be my coworker now again, is driving my car down the street because I think I wanted to listen for a noise, weird noise or something like that. All right, so when you get bored, you purchase Mugen bolts, and I started lining my front bumper air diversion plate with them. So this is after Homecoming. I rebuilt my suspension. At this time it was a little old. I believe this is the second time I purchased SRCs. It's a long story, but The first time I purchased it, as you saw, it was brand new. The second time I purchased it, it was used. And so the shocks ended up blowing. Eventually, it got Tane is in SoCal. Very easy to drop them off and get them rebuilt. I ended up throwing Swift springs on them because I think it had 18K springs at the time. At Tane SRCs, they came with 16K springs, kg, and you could eventually I think they started selling them with whatever spring you wanted. And so I went down to 14 because I experienced 16K when I first bought them brand new, and I want to just go down to 14K and experience Swift Springs. So here is the second time I bought Stradia seats, and this is when I bought a pair, and I love the seats. Again, I needed that little bit of recline that the pole positions did not offer. These were glitter back. These are sports seats. So they're not the baller carbon or carbon Kevlar or anything like that. These are the cheapest version of the Stradias. And here they are as a pair in the car. And I also did red carpet early on. Probably one of the first mods I actually did to the car after I first purchased it. But this is a shot of also the Honda Access premium mats that were re-released. Okay, so here's a couple of videos of me at Church Auto. I can't exactly remember why I was there. I do not think I was tuning on anything. I think it might have been just baseline dyno pulls. All right, and more parts to add to the SS collection. This is the rear wing. I purchased it used in LA. You know, this is typical LA backdrop. Looks like Karate Kid. It's painted Silverstone, and then I repainted it. So this is also, funny enough, just happens to be with Jared again. Photos that probably I've never posted, and I don't think he's ever posted them. Jared lives out in Redlands. He invited myself and another gentleman. I think his name was Ronald or Ron. I'm not positive. He had a bunch of Mugen cars, and he was an older guy, didn't get out much, so never posted on the forums, I believe. He had a bunch of Mugen cars, and he knew both of us, Jared did. So he invited us out to like a impromptu cars and coffee for just the three of us. We called it like the Mugen Cars and Coffee. So at this time, I had basically a full Mugen SS exterior besides, the MF10s. And you can see that Jared here, he just had an AP2 rear bumper. He has always rocked the J's exhaust. And he had, I think that's an ASM wing at this time. So yeah, it was really cool. The Silverstone car had full Mugen everything. I think it was even a carbon top. Here's another look. These are the Mugen GP wheels. But yeah, really cool event. So yeah, Jared had the SS front bumper and the MF10s, white MF10s on it. This was a cool event, for sure. And so here's a video of the SS car moving, the Silverstone car moving. All right, and now Go Tuning held a spoon meet. Go Tuning / Spoon USA is located here in Orange County as well. And Ichishima-san, who is the founder and president at this time of Spoon, came to the USA to this event at Go Tuning. So here's me posing with him. Tommy did invite me to park right in front, even though, I'm cool with Tommy, of course. I'm very close with him, even though I had a Mugen car and no Spoon parts on it. And then when I met Ichishima-san, I was kind of embarrassed. He asked me what car I had. I was like, "Oh, it's this Mugen S2000 over here," and he's like, "Oh, it's okay." I said it embarrassingly, And he's like, "Oh, it's okay. I love all Hondas." That's how he was. So he's a pretty cool guy. Really, really fun experience. I was showing him my car. He wanted to know about my car. He actually went to each person's car there pretty much and asked them about their cars and wanted people to show them their cars. He was just interested in their cars, like probably just enthusiasts like the rest of us. So here are my steering wheel options, which I still have to this day. You can see my Mugen steering wheel over there. I do prefer the spoon steering wheel in my car in the NSX. I preferred the Mugen steering wheel. This is a Mugen Leather 3, Mugen 3 steering wheel in the S2000. But in the NSX, I prefer the spoon, and It just has to do with the positioning of the thumb grips. They're slightly different between the two. I don't really like how the Mugen steering wheel has the thumb grips lower than the center line, lower than like 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And they design a lot of their steering wheels like that. So that's why I don't really rock a lot of Mugen steering wheels. It just doesn't feel right to me. But here it is. I did, of course, get one. I think my wife got it for me as a gift. But I got it and it went with the theme. So, and I did actually, sorry, I did like it in the S2000 better though. I think it's had to do with also the seating position I was at in the car. Okay, this is super interesting. I believe I'm probably the only one to do this, which is I really like these JDM chrome interior AP1 headlights. Now my car is an '04 or was an '04 AP2, but I never really liked the AP2 headlights or the taillights, especially the headlights, how they kind of got that Altezza look where at that time, a lot of cars in the early 2000s, it was cool to have these little modules in the car and everything in the headlights and taillights and everything like that. I wasn't a big fan of that for the AP2 headlights. So I always had my eye on these chrome headlights. It was a special look. Of course, it had the clear turn signal also. I got these specifically though from my friend Risen in the Netherlands. So you guys might know him. Risen Stay Humble is his Instagram handle. He recently got in an accident with his orange Amuse S2000. But I had communicated with him at the time. I had sent him stuff. He had sent me stuff that we both having a hard time getting. So these headlights are available over there in the Netherlands, and I purchased them off of him. There are differences between the AP1 and AP2 headlights, though. Like the ballast mounts are different. The shape of where the ballast enters in the headlight is different. One's round, one's square opening. The turn signal sockets are different. This chrome headlight also had an auto leveling device. So what I did was to bypass not all of those, but bypass some of those issues, mainly the auto leveling. I grabbed a set of AP1 headlights, US headlights, and also I should say the main point of what I'm getting at is I wanted the left-hand drive HID cutoff. So these being the chromes being right-hand drive cutoff, it meant that the step in the HID headlight beam was going to shine into oncoming traffic, since we drive here on the right side of the street. So I wanted the left-hand drive cutoff, which meant the headlight is lower on oncoming traffic and meant to shine higher on the right side of the street, which is where your signs, street signs, and everything are. So basically, I purchased a set of USDM AP1 headlights, which is the headlight in the back. And I had the goal of swapping over this interior piece, which is the chrome and the clear turn signal. So that's what I did. I baked both headlights open, swapped this lower piece in to the USDM headlight. Here's a look at the chrome. It's a really cool look. And fun fact, these turn signals are clear, but they're actually even a completely different design. The US is not only just amber, it's not an amber version of this. The US is amber and has reflectors because that's what's required to be legal in the US. It has like reflector element to it, which you can see in this previous shot right here. So you can see that they're kind of, the turn signals are stepped because there's a reflector on the sides of it. So anyway, that's a fun fact. So another look at the chrome, and here it is. Here's me putting them back together. So I was really proud of this. Whoever has my car right now has probably the only set of the headlights that are like this. There's a left-hand drive cutoff with the proper left-hand drive cutoff with the chrome housing headlights. Probably one of the greatest days of the S2000 ownership is when I popped open Instagram and saw that King Motorsports had re-released the MF10s. This was 2017 released, and if you weren't following at the time, King's last release was 2013, so 4 years prior, and those were all gone. MF10s were selling for crazy prices, and King just popped up and never told anyone that they were remaking them. Just popped up and said, "Hey, these are for sale." I saw it and I said, "I'm jumping on this." I called the wifey and said, "I need to make a large purchase. You know, is that okay?" Because that's what you do when you're a couple, right? Is get the okay for large purchases. But you know, I couldn't pass it up. So I at this time also King sold the wheels, I believe, in individual pieces. So I bought 4 17x9 wheels, which were the NSX rear wheels, NSX spec rear wheels, 79 plus 42. Here you go. There's the manufacture date, 2017, March 29, 2017. So this, of course, is, I never thought that I had resigned to not getting MF10s because they were so expensive. I was not going to pay like upwards of $5 grand, $6, $7 grand, $8 grand. I know of some people that purchase wheels for $8 grand. You know who you are. That was insane at the time. You know, it's still insane now, but these, you know, King did not rip people off when they re-released these MF10s, and they're still not ripping people off now. They're really good investments, and it's the reason why I continue to support King is they're supporting the community by doing things like this and bringing wheels back and helping me personally complete my Mugen build. At this time, this is the last piece I needed to complete the exterior of the S2000. So here it is. This is the culmination, and right now I'm the happiest person on earth because I have brand new 17x9 Mugen MF10s. I have the full SS kit, hood and hardtop included, and it's just nothing else I could ask for. The exterior is done. Shot of the mirrors. Shot of the rear bumper and wing and hardtop. So I have switched over to the spoon steering wheel. And you can see here I have the new Mugen knob in red. I liked having red accents here and there to break up all the black. Here's a shot of MF10s with the stop techs. And of course an exterior shot with the new headlights in and my seats mounted. So here I had the IV Text oil cap. Wasn't super happy with that, but good thing Mugen released the 1.5 later. So here I got really bored. There's absolutely nothing wrong with my StopTech trophy kit. That was amazing kit. StopTech really does their job. That's the reason why I purchased StopTech brakes from S2000 from NSX, is because StopTech really does their homework. This AP Racing kit. AP Racing does not make actual kits for the S2000. You have to have companies design brackets. They buy their calipers from AP and they design brackets on a vehicle by vehicle application basis. So I did purchase an AP Racing Pro 5000 kit. This was before this caliper was all over the place, and now people love this caliper and it's all over the place. But back then, it was pretty rare to have. My only complaint, it looks so cool, so good. I love this race anodized finish, just like the trophy kit had. It's a finish that is meant to resist brake fluid and everything like that. So here's the clearance to the wheels, no spacers, tons of clearance. The 17 by 9s, 17 by 9 42s, lots of clearance. My problem with these brakes is that the company that I bought it from, they probably could have used a smaller 4-pot. There are multiple 4-pots that AP makes for the Pro 5000R. There's a smaller one, and I believe that probably would have been better fit for the S2000 because my brake travel was too much. So it's this caliper with this piston size was not sized perfectly for my master cylinder. It probably could have used slightly smaller pistons in order to feel better. So I wasn't liking that. I was kind of regretting my decision. I bled it so many times, and I was like, you know what? It's just the piston size. The pedal travel was increased, and I didn't like it. That's why I went with StopTech for this car. I know StopTech does their research right. Okay, so I went even further and purchased Mugen hard bushings. I didn't do all the bushings, but I did some of them. The bushings where the part where the suspension connects to the arm, the important ones like that, I did. Here's some aftermath of the bushings I replaced and compliance bolts that get rusted out. Reminder, this is a 100% SoCal car. I purchased this car at 9,000 miles. I did not live near the ocean, and this is the rust. It's very well known that for these to rust in place, and I feel sorry for the S2000 owners that live in like snowy climates because this is crazy. I had never experienced rusty bolts like this on any other car. Of course, the header is next. I already had the intake. I had the exhaust. I was missing the header. So what a beautiful, beautiful piece. Here it is compared to stock. And this is, of course, the AP2 version. The way you can tell it's the AP2 version is that both of these heat shield mounts are this like box type mount, whereas the AP1, I believe only one of these is a box type. The other one has like more of like a flattened out mount. You'll see it if you Google. If you Google the images, you'll see. The one with two boxy brackets like this is the AP2 version. And here it is with the head heat shield. So of course Mugen thinks of everything and is very OEM in that respect. And they are one of the only exhaust manifold companies that creates heat shields for any of their exhaust manifolds. I mean, I don't think any other aftermarket company ever did that. Even for the NSX, they did that. I did not run the heat shield, so I sold it with a brand new heat shield when I powered out my car because the heat shield is known to crack. You can see that it's cracked. Even the OEM one cracks. So there's just a lot of vibration, so I didn't want to damage this heat shield, and I wanted to see the header too because it looks so beautiful, right? I wasn't worried about getting pulled over. I didn't care. I just wanted to see what's the use of getting this header if I can't see it? I mean, of course you want the power, but this is NA F22. It's not gonna make like, it's gonna make like maybe 10 horsepower max with everything I have. Look at the underside of the car. I did have a EVS high flow cat at this time. And here's the under tray of the front bumper. Here's a shot of the header tucked in. And I actually got this coil cover signed years later from when I met Ichishima-san at Go Tuning. I actually hauled this thing all the way to Japan and had him sign it. All right, so this is Nisei. So this is the only car show that I entered with this car. I entered it with some heavy hitters. You might recognize these guys. These are my buddies my S2000 crew that I used to hang out with. Of course, SDC Areen in the back here with his Spoon S2000. We have Tommy from Go Tuning with his full ASM S2000, and right next to me is as who you guys would see on know from his screen name, John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith, with his blue Mugen CR. Joe is his real name. So if you didn't know that already, so here's Joe's car. This is before he recently got a ASM set up on his car, but this is of course years ago when he didn't have that yet. At this show, as I look at S1 seats, I'm reminded that one of the reasons why I hate car shows is, like, when I was getting judged for the show, they were asking me like, oh, I was telling them, oh, I have Mugen this, Mugen this, Mugen this. They're like, where's the seats? And I'm like, I don't like the seats. And they look at me like, not believing me. And I'm like, you know what? You guys cannot believe me. I don't like the seats. If you've ever sat in S1 seats or S1R seats, I don't really know how you can stand those seats. I'm not talking about how narrow they are. Yes, they are narrow, but they have zero padding. It just feels like a thin layer of foam, like as thin as like a headliner foam would be. And so I never like those seats. And this is when you can get S1 seats for like, you can get them used for like a pair at like for like $1,200 at this time, $1,000 to $1,500. Now they're like $3,000-$4,000 or whatever. But I could easily afford them. My Stradias cost more than those seats. I didn't like the S1 seats. I like the Stradias. And so, you know, whether people believe me or not, that's the truth. So here's Tommy's ASM S2000 and Irene's Spoon S2000. And last but not least of the major, this is what I call the crown jewel of my build. This is the carbon hardtop. So remember I told you to remember that number. Do you remember the number? So here's the number for the carbon top. C0346. So why does that sound familiar? Huge coincidence. I don't know if I should have bought a lottery ticket after this, but that's a split image of my fiberglass top on the top and my carbon fiber top on the bottom. I just happened to get both numbers 0346 tops in the world. Really crazy coincidence, considering, you know, the FRP top. So I bought this carbon top brand new, so it was like recently produced. That the FRP top was very old. At this point, it was probably like 15 years old or something like that, 10 to 15 years old. So to get both of these numbers when they're produced so far apart from each other was really crazy, and it's such a cool coincidence. So I really enjoy this image. What is this? Well, this is a big image. This is the carbon top in my living room. Beautiful piece. And of course, all the hardware that Mugen provides, which is mostly OEM. I look at the carbon again. And this is a funny photo. So I was super paranoid about having my carbon top fade in the sun, because I would drive my car out to work a lot, just because I wanted to. I'd park it outside when I'd work using the garage for another car. So this, I bought this top cover from, I think, Roadster Solutions. I don't think they sell it anymore. It's a really nice top cover. It's actually meant for like when you're park your car out at the store and you want to leave the top down, or you park it at work and you want to leave the top down. It protects your interior. I used it and it fit. I used it as a cover for my hardtop. So as you can kind of see, I actually have my hardtop on underneath this. I use that as a cover to protect it from the sun. This was a really cool. I think I still have this around. I need to see about that and try to sell it. All right, and the next piece of the puzzle was a Mugen roll bar. I bought this used. I found it. My buddy found it, and I purchased it off of the forums or something. I can't remember. Here it is. Here I am installing it. It's fully bolt in. except for a few holes that you have to drill, but otherwise it bolts into and replaces the factory roll hoops. As you can see here, it even comes with provisions for eyelets for harnesses, which is really cool. And it comes with this whole plastic piece in the back, and you'll see that there'll be a piece I add on the front also, is our garnish covers. Again, Mugen really, really good with this car. They design things so nicely, with one caveat on this roll bar, which I'll talk about in a second. So here's the roll bar. Again, it replaces the OEM roll hoop. It uses the factory seat belts. Here is the cover. So you can see in the previous shot is missing the cover. This shot has the cover. You lose your secret compartment, but because you have to cut it up and remove it. But you know, that's a sacrifice I was willing to make for this part. Not a lot of people had this part. Still, a lot of people don't have this part. A lot of the Mugen builds that exist right now, they don't have this part. Here is my biggest issue with this. So what you're looking at is the seatbelt. So this is the driver's side. You see this right here, this kink in the seatbelt. It's because it's fully mounted up. The seatbelt, how it mounts to the roll bar, is not in the correct position. So right here, this seatbelt where it triangulates for your shoulder, it mounts not in the correct OEM position. So I grabbed this picture online just as a stock roll hoop, and you can see that the angle, the slanted diagonal angle that this mount needs to sit at in order for the belt to come down perfectly over your shoulder. If I go back to the previous image, remember this angle. There's no angle here. It sticks straight up. So that's why there's a kink in the belt as it feeds into this corner piece. There's a kink in it, and what that results in is that your seatbelt does not retract like it should. So I asked a buddy who also had this roll bar. I was like, why didn't I know about this? I probably would not have purchased this roll bar if I had known this. And it's just one of those things that people never talked about or something. Maybe they didn't want to badmouth Mugen, but I was really disappointed to the point where I had purchased a spare set of OEM roll hoops, and I was going to chop off the bracket that this seatbelt mounts to, and I was going to weld it to the Mugen roll bar in order to get that perfect angle, that OEM angle that these should be. When your seatbelt does not retract, it feels like your car's old and busted. Like when you have an old ass car where the seatbelt retractor is just worn out and you have to like feed it back in. Like that's what I had to do with this roll bar, and that was not acceptable. I was really hating that. Really made me hate this roll bar, and yeah, I just was not feeling it. I did keep the roll bar in, but that was very annoying. So here's a shot of the roll bar. It looks cool, but I like, for me, of course, I like things that look cool, but things need to function first before they look cool. So here's a shot of another photo shoot, this time with the AP brakes. I think that and the roll bar are the only things that are new compared to my old photo shoot. Shot of the rear. Here is the carbon top. Perfect. Carbon top, roll bar, and brakes. That's what's new in this photo shoot. Here's a shot of the titanium exhaust. Mirror. Front shot. Wheels with the AP brakes. That's a good look. I love the low key of these brakes. I definitely would have gone with something like that for the NSX, but for the NSX, I wanted to switch it up. I had low key. I had the trophy kit on the S2000. I had this AP Pro 5000R low key on the S2000. I wanted something a little bit more flashy. Not too flashy, but flashy. I think this nickel plated brakes fits the ticket. I do not regret it at all on the NSX. Here's a beautiful shot. I love this shot. The car looks so good on an overcast day with how shiny it is. It sat perfectly. I love it. The tires and everything with the wide fenders. The roll bar showing through. This is a famous spot that got blown up when people started seeing myself and others post here. This is 5 Points in Irvine. You cannot do this anymore. This is before people moved in. I was just parked in the middle of the street for hours because no one was in here and there was no security at this point. Eventually, they would have security kick people out from taking pictures here. But this is how dead this place was at the time. Shot of the headlights. And another shot with this is El Toro Air Base actually. Great park now. You cannot get into this area anymore either. This is set for demolishing very soon. And more for the engine bay. So there's Georgie, rest in peace. Here is my ASM, brand new ASM strut bar. There it is in the engine bay. So this was a cool bar. It ties down with an X brace down to the subframe. Made by Succeed. Work of art. And ASM overflow tank. Here's a shot of the new engine bay with the Mugen oil cap, as you can see. So here's the oil caps. This is a re-release with King, and again, these caps were selling for big money and with damaged logos and stuff like that. And King released it again, and I'm super thankful for that. So I had gotten my front bumper damaged on the freeway from hitting something. I had taken it to, at this time, a good painter. So I had a cheap painter paint it before, had a lot of orange peel. This time I took it to 7 Apple over in Torrance, right next to Honda. Makito, who I don't know if he does aftermarket stuff anymore because he started to not do it shortly after this, but he did expert repair and repaint, beautiful repaint on this, on my bumper and air dam. And here you can see, look at this, very, very good paint job, shining in the sun. And here is another part, a refresh part, brand new carbon fiber, full dry carbon fiber Mugen hood. And why did I need a new hood, you might ask? So there I am. There it is, a shot with the new hood propped up against my tool chest and the current hood on the car. You might notice something funny about the hood. It used to have carbon vents showing, not anymore. Why is that? Oh, it's because I put vinyl over the vents because they were getting this cancer. The clear coat from the previous paint job was starting to fail. So instead of going through the arduous task of having a body shop spend hours and hours and hours stripping off this clear coat, I just purchased a new hood. So here's me having fun with the peeling off the clear coat. All right, and here is the hood installed. So I am a bit of a racer at heart. I did not want to paint this hood. I wanted to see this carbon fiber in all of its glory. The carbon fiber, again, I believe from Challenge, amazing, especially brand new. And especially when you're used to like a slightly yellowed carbon fiber. This carbon fiber looks so bright and clear and amazing. And my car being black, I thought I could pull it off. So I want to just rock the carbon hood, and especially how it flowed into the carbon hardtop, which I also left unpainted. So there it is. There's the beautiful new carbon hood. Front shot. And here, this is what I was talking about earlier. The strength of this hood. Of course, this Japanese dude probably weighs very little, but who markets their stuff like this? Look at this guy standing on the hood. It's super strong, so well designed, so thoughtful, such a thoughtful design. I really, really love this hood. And of course, I mentioned, I think earlier, is that Mugen King re-released the 1.5 caps, which also used to go for a lot of money on the used market. So I snatched up a couple. I always get one for the car and one to have for extra. All right, this is one of my final shoots. Not the final, but one of my final shoots where the car is pretty much all done. I mean, it's got the new hood, it's got the new hardtop, it's got everything. It's basically in its final form. Here's, of course, I did the flush mount mod to the steering wheel horn button. If you're not familiar with that, that's the first ever video I posted on YouTube on this channel. Go check it out. The flush mount horn button mod for the Honda horn button. I feel like really it's a good look. Here's more of the photo shoot. Just a nice shiny look at the car. I loved how it shined in this light. And this is the squad again. This is Warren with his Amuse setup. He also had stop techs and CE28s and Irene's Spoon S2000. All right, interior was always last priority for me. So I did have, I don't know how you pronounce their company name, Sweat It, do my interior. And you might look at this and be like, oh, it looks a little weird. It's because I wasn't the first one to do this, by the way. Someone else had this concept, but this is the way it should have been. AP2 door cards should not have had the reverse stitching. So the way these lines are angled on this door card is AP1 style, and it's also how the NSX looks. And to me, going forward, following the door handle and just shooting forward more like you're going fast is way better than how the AP2, if you're familiar with the AP2, it goes backwards. And this bottom line right here, it cuts back, and these subsequent lines face rearward, and it just does not look good in my opinion. So when I was having Sweat It do my interior in Alcantara, I said, hey, you need to do this with this perforated red backing Alcantara, and I want an AP1 style. So that's what I got. So I really, really love this, and to me, it's the way these door cards should have been. And here, so I meant you see me earlier mention how my power mod wise, I have the intake, the exhaust manifold, and the EVS high flow cat and the exhaust, and that is known to run lean on the lean side. So I didn't want to run too lean. I picked up engine management, but I went the cheap route. I said, you know what? I'm not boosted or anything like that right now. I don't need like a standalone or even a piggyback, or nice piggyback, I should say. Like, even though I didn't work at Greddy at this time, but Kenji allowed me to come by and use the dyno. So I got a VFC2. So I know it's a really janky way to tune, but you know what? I just wanted to adjust the fuel timing to make it not run lean anymore. So I thought that was going to be a legit route, but the tuner was more adept at tuning standalones, and had I think he had a little bit of a hard time tuning with the VFC. And so the car never ran that good with the tune, and ended up just taking the tune off. But here's some shots and a few videos of my time at Greddy. So enjoy the dyno pulls. right, so this is one of two last photo shoots that I actually paid for. I wanted to, at this time, I don't think I knew I was selling the car or going to sell the car, but I wanted to have a professional shoot. And I don't think I'm posted, I don't think I have any shots, or just one shot of the photo shoot. There's more shots in my other video, but I just, I don't have very many rolling shots at this time. So here's some shots from that Angeles Crest in LA. And here's a nice shot from Michael Marcheco. Thank you for this photo shoot. I did pay for this photo shoot, but I didn't know him personally at the time, and he did a great job. Of course, you want to pay people for their time. And this is a photo shoot that I also paid for, but this one, the difference is I knew that I was selling the car. So I contacted Art and Machines on Instagram. And I said specifically, I want some nice roller shots. I wanted something that I could put on my wall. There's one right there, and is the thumbnail for my other video. And he delivered. I love these shots. Eventually I want to get them all printed out. I just have that one in my garage right now. But these are really cool shots. I'm really happy that I went through with it. So here's a goofy, that's Tommy's car in the background right there, but me wearing this hat, just as a reminder of what kind of car I built. So I was really proud. Of course, I didn't have every single S2000, Mugen S2000 part. There's the seats, the part that I regretted not getting. The only part that I regretted not getting was the coil cover. And that's because by the time I was building my car, these coil covers were going for like $2,000, $3,000, and for this little thing, it's not what I'm not willing to pay that amount. So the seats I didn't want, the suspension I wasn't really into. I really love my Tane SRCs. That's why I bought them twice. And there's other super rare parts like the radiator, which I wasn't really interested in spending like $1,000 for a radiator. And then if you know medical student in Texas from the forums, OG Mugen Head, I think he has like a instrument panel, like a gauge cluster thing from Mugen. There's the Mugen gauges that you could get. I didn't want the pod for that is made for left-hand drive, and people do make, the pod is made for right-hand drive cars. There is someone that made like a reverse engineered mirrored image and made one for left-hand drive, but I don't want to mess around with wiring and add gauges for my car. It doesn't need gauges. I'm not boosted or anything like that. Stock motor ran fine. I didn't need to look at oil pressure or oil temp or anything like that. So I got everything that I wanted except for the coil cover. So I considered selling the car at one time before I went down all through this Mugen route. And I decided not to sell it, decided to go full forward in finishing the car and having no regrets with the car. And I'm so happy I did that. And that's what I tell a lot of people. I tell the people this story when they're thinking about selling a car. Said, do not have regrets if you sell the car, sure, sell it if you have to, but if you built your car a certain way and you wish you sold it and then you went and wish you had done this thing or this and this, then regret is a horrible thing to live with. So I am super happy with what I accomplished with this car, and that's why I'm just really proud too. Okay, so this video you're looking at is the various Mugen manuals that I collected over the years. It's not all of them. There's some that I'm missing, but I thought it was a cool video because I think I gave away the manuals to the new owners. And of course, here is the final iteration and where I stopped and had to start parting out. I had to secure the NSX, and it was at a point where I needed to spend and put money into it. So I needed to liquidate, not only liquidate the parts to get some money out of the S2000, but I didn't want, I'm not gonna have like two-seater cars, um, because one, I don't need that. Two, I have other dailies already. Three, I can't park it in the garage because the wifey needs to park her car in the garage as well. Um, and I'm not rich enough to just have that many toys. So the S2000 had to go. I had the new baby, and I went full steam ahead in the NSX. So that's the story of my S2000. I would have kept it if I could. I could have kept it in stock form technically, but it was actually pretty depressing parting it out and seeing it in stock form. It's good that it went away after that. So I would love to have another S2000 in the future, but who knows what if that will happen. Prices have gone up, of course, and then to build another one like this would be pretty much impossible and would probably cost double what I ended up selling the car for. I listed this car as is, not parted out, for 45K in 2021, and people, I did get some tire kickers, but mostly people were scoffing at the price. Right, 45K for S2000, which now had like 125,000 miles on it. Yeah, it's a lot, but now look at how much these parts are. Someone just this week showed an SS from Bumper that sold for like I can't remember, $7,000 or something like that. That's crazy. So to build this car, it's either impossible or will cost you a ton of money. Some parts are discontinued, already. So again, I was really happy with this car. I'm really proud of what I built, and I hope that you guys, if you stuck through the video, stuck around this long, thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this commentary video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I appreciate it. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.